Hey everybody, it's Vinny SOB. I'm here to do an actual short version of the 3.1.6 Wickinger mod, full release for the Infantry Doctrine. I have minefields everywhere. I should not be interrupted. So if you watched my last video, it was extremely long. I kept getting interrupted by being attacked. But here we go. We're going to start off with looking at what we're here to do, and that is the Infantry Doctrine, the new doctrine in version 3.1.6 for the Wickinger mod. When you pick it, you have 3 different tracks, well 4 actually. You have an armor track here, you have an infantry track here, you have a ranger track which branches off in a few directions, and you have a mortar pit and kind of munitions track here. So this is called the Infantry Doctrine, and one of the great things about Infantry Doctrine is you have some abilities here that give you some pretty cool infantry focused upgrades. First you have the replacement depot, and basically and it's cheap, it's only 1 command point. When you pick this, what's going to happen is for 2 minutes you'll be able to run your infantry into battle, and if any of the troops get killed or any of the squads get killed, they'll be replaced. You will still have to put your weapons back on them, but if they get killed, again, they will be replaced. There's nothing to kill any of my infantry troops here, so I'm not going to bother using the ability now. The next thing you'll find, if you're and you don't have to start here with infantry, you can start here if you'd rather try to go armor, or if you'd rather just save up and go ranger, because as you can see, the ranger track is very expensive. It's not meant to happen very early, whereas getting a 76, or if you're trying to go armor, which again early on you're not going to be able to because you won't have the buildings unlocked. But infantry is a pretty good way to start. So the next ability here, assuming you went the infantry track first, or whatever, this infantry track, is rapid deployment. Now what this is going to do, when you pick this, and it's only 1 command point, just like the previous ability, what this does, it's a passive ability. When you build a Rifleman squad, they build very fast, as you'll see here, and they reinforce extremely fast. So if you lose a few troops, I don't have any that are injured, I don't believe. I do not. But if I had, you would go back and reinforce them. They would reinforce very quickly. So these two, the passive ability for these riflemen, them building quick and reinforcing quickly, I could try to show you, but last time I tried this, they ended up not getting blown up here. But I'll try it real quick and see if I can get lucky enough. Come on. Ah, didn't take anyone out. So anyway, but they reinforce super fast. I can build another one and try to show you. Now, another thing you'll notice is this Rifleman came onto the screen already having an LMG unlocked. The reason for that is it's a bonus for Infantry Doctrine. Now, you would think, well, that's overpowered if that happens automatically. Well, it does, but not until you open up the platoon command post, which is 40 fuel and 200 manpower, so it's not something you're going to have, straight away. It takes a little bit to get this second building unlocked, but the minute you do, your troops will come onto the screen, your riflemen, with a bar already on the squad. So it's and that's only for the Infantry Doctrine that this happens. I'll try one more time just to see if hopefully I don't kill them all. I did. Okay, well, either way, believe me, they reinforce really fast. So you'll notice too, they've changed this up a little bit. You used to be able to put a number of things on your infantry, your riflemen. You could put, you had 6 choices here actually, and you could have like 1 of each, because one of them was also a grease gun. But what they've done now is you click to specialize. You can either put a bazooka on them and make them more of a tank squad, or you can put this M1919A6 light machine gun, and it will make them more of an infantry, suppression style squad. You can always put the extra bar, and again with these guys that'll be 2 bars, your rifle grenade and your health kit, and then you pick one of these 2. So the one thing that is missing now is the grease gun. But we'll go ahead and we'll just I don't know, pick the LMG, whatever. So you see that the bazooka disappears. You can no longer put it on. Now they're still working with the different riflemen, what they're going to end up doing with all the riflemen across the board. I think they're probably all going to be a little different. Right now this is how all of them are functioning. So let's move on down the line here. The next thing in the infantry track is only 2 command points, and it is the battlefield commission, and this will require you to have your officer on the field, and what he will do is promote your troops so that they get a second lieutenant. And let's go ahead, and I've already unlocked all the buildings, so I'm going to go ahead and build this officer. One more thing I'll show you here, now that I've picked Infantry Doctrine, I not only have the standard 50 cal machine gun, I have a 30 cal as well. And the 30 cal is nice, pretty high fire rate, suppresses quite quickly, so it's a nice addition to this doctrine. So we'll get this officer on here. If you've played Spearhead, you know you have officers for each of these buildings, and that's how you unlock the buildings. You don't have to do that in this mod. You just unlock the buildings as if you were just building them. You don't have to have a specific troop come out to make them function. But at any rate, you'll see here there's an ability for Battlefield Commission. So you just click it, and it's 80, so it's expensive to do. But you click it on a rifleman, and this rifleman will then get the Butterbar. So you can see he has that commission, and the lieutenant himself will have right there, he'll have a Thompson. So even makes them more powerful. Now I don't know how it affects their sprint. It's 14-second duration. I'm just kind of curious right here. Let's kick these guys out. Alright, there's this 14-2, so it doesn't seem to affect that, but it does give them the Thompson, of course. So that's good to go. And if you look, it gives them a veterancy level. So they're going to be, you know, just a more effective troop. So that's the infantry track. Very nice, very cheap to get going as far as command points, and the rewards are, you know, pretty much immediate. Now, granted, you may not use this, you know, this replacement depot right away because you're not going to, you're not going to probably be running a lot of troops in, and 85 munitions early game is a lot, so you probably won't use it right away, but when you do get to use it, it's extremely effective. Next, we'll look at the Armour Dock, or the armor track, and if you look here, pretty simple stuff. And to start off, when you look at your battalion command post, which again I have already unlocked, and I did unlock the repair station because I was fighting tigers earlier. But what you have here is you have the ability off the bat to build a M4A3 Sherman, which, as you know, is really for emplacements more, and you know, light vehicles, some of the earlier tanks, and it'll also fight infantry really well with the HE rounds. But that's all you get to start. So when you go through the first track, it's only 1 point, so you can go ahead and it'll give you the 76er. So now you can fight tanks a little more effectively, other medium tanks, and really if you get a couple of these, you can fight heavy tanks as well if you hit them in the rear. So the next thing you'll notice is there are no tank destroyers in this at all. Okay, so the next upgrade, which is a cool battle group style upgrade, is the 634th Tank Destroyer Battalion Dispatch. So what that's going to do is allow you to bring 2 tank destroyers in and a Jeep. Oh, I didn't click it. And that's only 2. But again, you know, early game, you're not going to be able to, you have to unlock all these to get to this. So these typically aren't going to be your real early game unlocks. Plus, if you look, it's 950 and 25 command points. But we'll call it in. And that can really be handy because, again, you're not like, it's not that you're limited in armor, really, because the M4A3 and the Sherman are good. But it's nice to have tank destroyers because when they're in camouflage, they do, you know, a lot of damage. They can get the first hit off. So you get these 2, you could put them wherever, and right now I'll just move them in here just in case they decide to send another tiger. I'll just move them down here real quick, so just get them in some positions and lock them down. So, and then you get your little Jeep thing there. So, this is not a, it's not a armor heavy doctrine. It really focuses on the foot troops. So next you would get, for another 2 here, you get the M4A3105, which is the arty piece for this doctrine. So you can go ahead, and once you unlock it, you can build it, and you only get 1 of them. And again, it does count as your arty piece. So it's a 105. It shoots, you know, 5 shots, pretty widespread, not real accurate. I mean, it does some really good damage if it hits it directly. It's, you know, it's probably the, you know, some of the weakest, you know, arty in the game. But this is not an arty dock, and you'll see the elite troops you're going to get here soon make up for that, as well as the fact that you can kick out riflemen at a blistering pace and replace them. You know, it's just, arty really is not something you necessarily, it's not bad to have, you know, but they definitely do not have the best arty by any means. So moving right along, I'm kind of waiting for this. Where is it at? There it is. We'll throw the dozer on it. What the hell? So as you'll see, this has a 105mm howitzer barrage. It does have some nice range. Now this isn't a real big map, but you can see the range is pretty good. And this can fire into the headquarters area, okay? So I'll just fire it over here, give you a quick look at it. This also does have a heat round that can use, and you can see it penetrates up to 130mm of armor. There's the first shot. And you notice there's no little flares showing that something's going to land. Look how wide. Look where that went. Well, this one, I think I aimed here. But either way, so there's nothing to tell you it's coming. So, you know, in Wickinger, they don't do that, which is great. So, you know, it can be effective. But you can see where it's hitting all over the place. And there's 5 shots. The cooldown's not horribly long on it. So, you know, it won't be that long, and it's not really too expensive. It's 55, but it's really, you know, not the greatest thing in the world for arty. But it is a great support tank. This thing will take out emplacements in 1 shot, and it will damage other tanks, and if you use the heat round, it'll put the hurt on a lot of tanks. That, you know, it penetrates pretty well with the heat round. Now, it does have a pretty decent cooldown time, so you're not going to sit there and be able to fight them. You know, that's a hit and run type thing against tanks. But moving right along, you have the 83rd Infantry Division Ragtag Circus. This is a cool historic, you know, everything's based on history, you know, with the Wickinger mod. But it's a cool call-in. I'll go ahead and unlock it. It's 4 command points. I mean, if you're really shooting for the armor track on this, I mean, it's going to be late game probably. Yeah, it's just takes a lot of points by the time you get here, and again, a lot of fuel to get everything going by the, you know, by the time this is all set up. But you cannot call it in until, even though it's here, you can't call it in until you unlock the heavy ordnance battalion here in this the battalion command post. Once that's done, we'll be able to call that in. So in the interim, what we'll do while we're waiting, we'll take a look. We have this, we'll just take a look at this mortar pit, which is this munitions style track. And it's the Goon Gun. It's a 4.2 inch 107mm mortar pit, and it's extremely deadly. Your engineers, of course, build this, and that is something that's a little different too. I've gone into it in the other videos. You've probably seen my beta videos too. I know I have engineers somewhere. There we go. Engineers now have no flame. You can put, you know, a hazardous removal package on them and a health pack, but that's it. They are called engineers now, not rear echelon troops. They have the engineer symbol, the historic symbol. So these guys don't build a whole, they build a bunch of stuff, but it's not like a defensive doctrine or something, or an arty dock where they can build emplacements and a bunch of other crap. But in this particular doctrine, they do get the ability to build this mortar pit. And I will put it way back here, because it has extreme range and extreme devastation, and if it hits the base, it will be the end of it. And I have been setting this up for quite a long time We're already at an hour and 30 minutes before, you know. So it's probably like an hour, 20 when I started this. So we're gonna let them build that up, and we'll look at the next thing we get, which is this really cool ammunition supply company dispatch. You're gonna get 2 Dodge supply trucks loaded with 100 munitions. And that's a call in here. We'll just do it right here. We have some troops. And what you're going to see is really cool. And I mentioned this in my other video, if you actually watched it. You have airborne drops munitions. There's some convert fuel to munitions. With this, I mean, what a cool idea. You have the trucks, and you click on them. They'll actually drop the munitions, and then drive off the map. So just a really cool little touch, along with like the bushes you can put on things, and just all the cool stuff about this mod. Just a really cool way to get that stuff delivered. I just lost a medium tank. Get out! I don't know what's going on over here. I'm not gonna let this get me all caught up like last time. Alright. So there you go. That's a cool call in to get your munitions. The cooldown time is nice and slow, or nice and fast, so you'll get that again. While we're waiting, we'll call in the Ragtag Circus. Let's call them in right here. And I'm going to bring this 1-5 up here. Stow those damn rounds and get this thing moving. I guess they blew up all my stuff. So there we have it. Anyway, Ragtag's coming in, and this is one of the coolest upgrades. This time I got a Stug. So there's 3 different things you can get. You can either get like a Stug here. You always get the American Jeep with it. You either get a Stug, a Panther, or you can get a Panzer IV. And it is really cool. And you can either get a half-track, and I've seen a truck, I believe, carrying a group of these 83rd Infantry guys. And they're pretty loaded up. They have, bar on them or an LMG of some sort. And I think they have rifle grenades too, we'll see in a second. But if you look, I guess in real life these guys would commandeer stuff, and it says next stop Berlin. It's hastily painted with American green, the olive drab. You can see it's not even completely covered. It's really cool. It's a really neat upgrade. Yeah, see, these guys have the 83rd Infantry Division Veterans, so these guys do have rifle grenades and an LMG. I don't know if they have a bazooka. They do, so yeah, they're pretty powerful. So very cool. That's another just really cool little touch and a really cool call in. Alright, so moving right along, we have the mortar pit that we built. So this thing, as you can see when I click on it, and we'll just look at saturation barrage, you can see how far out this thing can fire. So if you get this, if I would have built this over here in the middle somewhere, I could easily pummel their base with it. It is very powerful. It's 107 millimeter. It will do a lot of damage. So there you have it. You'll see there was a spot that you couldn't use yet, and that was the next unlock, which is white phosphorus. So you get the Willy P, which is extremely flammable, burns the hell out of troops, and whatever it hits, it's and they've made this now where it is for the infantry division only, Infantry Dock. But yeah, you can see those explosions. That's no joke. So now you're going to have this, the Willy Pete here. You're going to have it with your Shermans. I wish I had some Shermans. That's not a regular Sherman. This is a regular Sherman who is now being pounded. Let's get those bushes off and pull them out of here. Alright, but you see he has a Willy Pete. Yeah, I'm going to use it just to show you how effective it can be, assuming it hits and doesn't like bottom out on something on the way. But there you go. Oh yeah, burn them up. It's really cool. So, let me just get some bushes back on here. There we go, because they're at level 1. Alright, so there you have it. Now we're going to look, the last track that we have here is the Ranger track. Now again, this is really where this, between being able to do all this great stuff with Riflemen and, you know, the cool armor call-ins and your ammunition and mortar and all that, you have these Rangers. Now, if you look, it's 4 command points to even unlock it. So these are not troops you're going to be able to get right off the bat. And in just unlocking that, what it does is it turns your platoon command post basically into a Ranger command post. So now you no longer have just standard anti-tank squad, you have Ranger anti-tank squad. We'll build one. You also get a U.S. Ranger Scout Patrol. You get a Ranger Command Squad. And my queue is full. And these are all going to be more powerful than the standard, you know, than their counterparts. I mean, really, I guess the only other counterpart they would have would be, you know, the anti-tank squad. So here you see you get the 2nd Ranger Battalion, cool emblem. You can put a health pack on them.
New unit ready and
But they have Thompsons and bazookas, and there's 5 of them. So these guys are tough. They're actual Rangers, so they are a lot more effective than a standard anti-tank squad. So they can actually fight troops and tanks. They're not limited to basically just fighting tanks. They do have the ambush ability. They can crawl around in enemy territory unseen, as long as they don't use a spotter troop on you. They do get the white phosphorus. They can throw grenades. So you know, they're an actual Ranger troop, unlike a standard anti-tank squad, which I have here, which you can see does not throw grenades. They can creep around, but you know, that's it. There's only 4 of them, so they're not super effective against other troops. But these guys are. Also, we called in the Scout Patrol, similar to the one you have for the Airborne, except this one has 3, or 2 instead of 3 troops, and it's just it's a vision piece. So you can take it in here, face it, and you're going to put you can put binoculars on it, or you can creep it in with evasive action, undetected, sort of like the old Blitzkrieg. You had that piece that could, you know, creep around and see everything. And the binoculars give you a nice long field of vision, whichever way they're facing. So you know, that's good to go. It can help if you're going to use it with your 105 Sherman artillery or whatever, so you can see what you're hitting. Then you have the Ranger Command Squad. This is another tough squad. It's I believe they have a yep, they do bazooka, and they have a bunch of Thompsons. These guys will chew some things up. They're really tough. They get the on me, which will make other nearby troops break suppression. You can see it's giving them a bonus, defensive bonus right now already. They throw grenades. They're going to get a few other abilities as well, and they get the white phosphorus. And in fact, the regular riflemen get a white phosphorus rifle grenade now too, once you unlock white phosphorus. So moving right along, we have this thing branches off in 2 more directions. We'll go down. It's only 1 point for the Ranger Demolition Squad. This squad is extremely tough. The descriptions need to be changed here because you used to be able to unlock this pole charge here, which it comes automatically on the troop now once it's built. So let's go ahead and build one. You used to be able to build 2, now you can only build 1. And with the Rangers, you can see, of course, 1 command squad. You can build 2 of these anti-tank and 2 of the Scout Patrols, but you can only build 1 of these really elite, you know, any of the really elite stuff, you can only build 1. So as soon as this pops out, we'll mess with it. Down below that, we have the xylophone artillery. Now this is their big artillery. However, it will not fire into the headquarters area, and that's something that's pretty unique to Wickinger. You can't bombard, you know, the headquarters area, and we're going to show you how that works here in a second. But we have this demolition troop coming in, and you can see they have M1 Grand, so they can shoot at a distance. They do have a flamethrower and a Thompson, so they can be used up close. You can upgrade them with a bazooka as well. So it make them a very well-rounded troop. They do not have evasive action, just like the command squad. So they cannot creep around undetected. They will camouflage, like the, you know, when you put them in bushes, they will, in cover, they will go into camouflage mode. You know, they are an elite troop, but You know, again, they cannot just creep around on their own. So you can see they can throw satchels. They can have this pole charge you can lay down. It just blows things up. And they do get the, you know, the Willie Pete and the standard grenade. And I'm not sure why they're not going camouflage, but trust me, they do. So back to this. We unlocked that xylophone artillery. Now, this is something that is, you know, unique to, you know, Wickinger mod. Your big off-map artilleries on the completed doctrines are done through units. So you have to have a unit or a tank or something to call it in. And you look here, you have xylophone. It's got a very good range, considering it has to be in range of the piece that's firing it, which it would, in this case, is this troop. And you can see how far it shoots, but you cannot, even if I were closer, you cannot fire it in the headquarters, and you can only shoot it where you have vision. So it's where those vision pieces come in handy. Let's say the troops are, you know, bad guys are here, and you have a, whatever, vision, you know, with one of those scout pieces looking through the binoculars, and you can see in here, you'd be able to drop it. You cannot drop it in the darkness, like right here. See how I can't drop it because there's no vision there? But it is a very powerful artillery, and you know, you'll see here they cannot retreat while this is happening either. While they're calling in coordinates and doing all this stuff. Again, there's no markers to say, hey, something's coming down. You just hear it coming, and if you're on the receiving end, you should be looking for where the hell would they be artillerying me that I should move my guys. So it's a pretty deadly barrage. So, you know, like a half barrage of a Calliope, basically. Yeah, that's pretty deadly. That'll tear some stuff up. So again, if this guy dies, you better build another one if you plan on using that xylophone. And it has a very long cooldown time, so you know, don't expect to be using that often. Again, this is not an artillery dock. Let's get him in there. All right. So, see, these guys are camouflaged now. Let's just move them up, just in case I'm losing troops. You know, I just want to make sure stuff doesn't die. Oh, as you can see, I put tank traps everywhere. I mean, I really try to make it so I wouldn't be bothered by the enemy in this video, because the last one was ridiculously long. Alright, moving along. We're almost finished. We're almost through this. We have the opposite side here of the Ranger track, and this guy costs 3, but there's a reason for it. These are the DDay Veterans. These guys are super badass Rangers. You call them in, they pop down here. You can only build one. Even though it's one of these things with a little marker, you'd think, well, I can pop it up in a building. It's not the way it works. It just comes onto the screen to wherever you lay the marker. So they come in instantly, and they'll go right to wherever you laid the marker. They don't have any upgrades to put on them because they come with everything. So, you know, as far as like stopping near the headquarters to put a health pack on them or anything, you don't need to do that. So you don't have to worry about that. So you could drop them, you know, anywhere you want and let them go on their way to it. These guys are straight up full of Thompsons here. They do have a bazooka, even though it's not showing. One of the guys, I mean, they don't have it showing, but he pulls it out like he's coming off his back. I guess there's no animation for that. But they can fight tanks. They are super deadly. They come with a veteran level of 1 already. These guys do have evasive action, so you can creep them invisibly, you know, into enemy territory. They get smoke for, you know, throwing that and then rushing or getting away, and they get, of course, you know, the Willie Pete and the you know, grenade as well. So they're pretty badass. And again, you only get 1 of them. Now the remaining 2 things are abilities for all the Rangers. And the first one is the assault vest. What this does is it says you can carry more ammunition. What it does is it unlocks grenade volley. So, you know, we're still on the U.S. Ranger assault team. If you look here, the grenade volley opened up. Super deadly. Because they are, even though they're an elite troop, there are some deadlier elite troops. One thing you could do is whip some smoke and then run up and whip this grenade volley, and you will wipe out, you know, any kind of troop. I mean, I don't care if they're suppressing you, whatever which I'm going to show you the next ability before I get too much into the grenade volley. The next ability, which is the last thing on the list here, is the Medal of Honor, which gives you heroic charge. So, Now you see sprint became heroic charge. And what this does, it's a super fast sprint, everything. Look, I mean, let's talk about faster reloads, charge, everything. So they come through, it breaks suppression, it allows them to avoid suppression. It's not to say they won't get shot up on their way in, but you use this heroic charge, and then you use this grenade volley. They run up, and they're going to whip a crap load of grenades, and they will wipe out, like I said, just about any kind of troop. Look at that. So, and the great thing is, too, that counts for all the Rangers. So, like, here's a Ranger anti-tank squad. If you look, they get the heroic charge, they get the volley. So all the Rangers are very deadly. And if you group them together, and you keep them with that captain piece down here, who he also gets all those abilities, you know, you have a really deadly force. So again, there's not a lot of arty in this, not a lot of airstrikes or any kind of things, and in fact, they lack vision. There's no recon plane, there's no flares, you know, so you need to use those vision pieces to see. And one last thing I'll go over with this, because it's new, and it is actually really, I find it to be just really cool. If you look, I'm going to grab two different troops. And look at that. I can still do grenade volley because they're both Rangers. And they have abilities that are alike. I could do the heroic charge with both of them at once. Select it. I don't have to do this individually. I could throw a Willie Pete. I could do, you know, whatever. Grenade charge, and it'll do it. And you have to click it more. Like if you click it once, it doesn't do it for everybody. But you can click it multiple times and throw it. And that goes for other troops that are light troops. Oh, look at that! They brought in some Panthers. But anyway, let's get some fun right here, real quick. Oh shit! Don't do that. Yeah, but anyway, so it works for all light troops, and this is something again unique to Wickinger, which is super cool. So here you look. Our standard rifle squad has, you know, whatever, sprint and prone and grenade throw, right? So if you take him and you look at this guy who has the same type of abilities, and you put them near each other, and you're going to grab them as a group, or if you select them, if you make them into a group, you know, with the, what is it, control and the whatever number, you know, say you select them as a selectable group, you can see I have them both selected and all their abilities are available because they're similar, they have the same abilities. Now if I grab them and the other troops, you can see because they have dissimilar abilities, you can't, you know, use their abilities. But if I have both of these guys, or if I had a group of riflemen, you know, promoted with the thing or not, I can use their sprint, they will both sprint. I can use rifle grenades. No, it's not far enough. I can click it again because I have two guys with rifle grenades. And by the way, these rifle grenades are just really badass. But that's it. This is the Infantry Dock. It's really outstanding. You know, again, going through the beta, there were some things at first I thought, well, you know, it's missing things, but it's not. They know, these guys know what they're doing. So. You know, really impressive. It really is. These guys, you know, really know what they're doing. Oh, I have an HE on. So I'm just going to blow these guys up real quick. Thanks for watching. This one should be a hell of a lot quicker than the last one, even though it shows 149 up there. I know damn well it didn't actually take that long. So, so yeah, again, thanks for watching. And if you have any questions or comments, you know, please feel free to leave them below. In the future here, I'm going to try to, you know, I've learned a lesson from the last tutorial style thing I did. I just took far too long. So now I've learned a lot. But great mod. This 1.3.6 is open to everybody. So you can go ahead and play it, and you know, these guys, the developers are great, and they're always improving this thing. So it's just going to continue to get better. Run up and kill that thing. It's heroic charge, and I'm gonna whip a bunch of grenades on him. Oh, I love that. I love that. That's just great. They're not surviving that. And a flamethrower to boot. Crazy. So let's finish it up and be done, and that's it. So yeah, I hope you liked the video. Leave comments below, and or if you have any comments or if you have any questions. And believe it or not, the developers, you know, they see these videos, so if you have questions, these guys will come out and answer them for you, things that I might not be able to answer. So it's really great. If you're not playing this, I don't know why. It's by far the best mod out there. So yeah, I highly recommend it. And in the description, it has everywhere, you know, all the links for the forum, for downloading it, for everything. So it's all right in the description. All right, thanks for watching.